So we have a big push with really making sure that now it's clean. I mean, that's when. Who were you with when you went up? Mountain trip. Yeah, I mean the guide services are really good. Who falls? Unfortunately, probably the worst people that have problems in the mountain with garbage and waste is foreign climbers. So that's where we have to work real hard with getting everybody to bring, because we have in the United States we have pretty strict. People are used to bringing everything out, including the waste. A lot of climbing areas. Yeah, a lot of climbing areas now we have a little like little bags you can use like in climbing areas and waste is brought out, and then you have to be using the can which you've used before. And, yeah, you can help these guys show them how to pull it off. Yeah. Our main culprit are ravens. You can do everything right, but if your cache melts out or it's just left on the surface, ravens can really get into it. We had one foreign group that left a cache on top of Motorcycle Hill just for a very short time this last week, and I think where they were from. Anyway, ravens got it right away and destroyed all the food. And so you've got to bury it. You've got to bury it. If you don't, the ravens, the grass will get to them. We do spot checks of garbage when it comes out, but we want to make sure all your garbage is brought off. And as far as the Clean Mountain can goes, I'll show you this one right here. So you'll line the can. We got these compostable bags, and then when you get ready to, just tie it off and then throw it in a crevasse. Yeah. And so that's kind of the basic, pretty darn simple. You just sit on there and go. And what I do is I just tie the bag off, but it should travel like this. So it has the lid on tight and locked over. Use the strap here for carrying it, whether it's on your pack or the buckle is not strong, they tend to break, so use this outer strap. Yeah. When they are required, well, I'll show you the next image here. So things are a little different from when you were last here. Starting with the landing strip, all waste must be flown out now from the base camp. Nothing is crevassed throughout base camp. And so you guys are flying in this morning, or today, or today? This afternoon. I mean, this afternoon. Yeah. So if you have to take a ship before you go, take that to the main glacier and maybe to Camp 1 and then camp.
Okay. Base camp. Do you mean by the land?
The landing point. Yeah, landing strip.
Okay, and the high camp is
So the high camp is, we call it, well, some people call it Camp 5, but that's 5,000 meters.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And all that waste has to be brought down to the 4,000 meter camp.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll point this out again in the program. But we do have at the landing point and at the 4,000 meter camp and the high camp, we have places marked for the urine. We're going to make sure that the piss goes in those spots. So when you have a raider camp along the way, you'll mark one spot for pissing. Don't go all over. Just establish one place. And you'll probably be coming to camp areas that are already well established that you're just moving into. Most of those should have one place that people will be using for this. And so your caches should be buried a meter down or more. This is a landing point. This is one that melted out. So the cache tags were used. You have bamboo stakes yet for your
shelving?
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Then when you are moving up are you going to be camping? Well, you're probably camping at high camp. short period of time. So take down your tents and put your cache outside of the walls. Don't bury your cache inside of the wall. So you don't own the campsite. So when you leave, put everything outside of the wall. Kind of like the picture shows. We do have ranger patrols. We have rangers and medical people moving up and down the mountain, and we are there to help provide information. We have a small whiteboard that we write on the weather, and it's posted outside of the weather port there. If you've got some medical questions or questions, about avalanche debris or anything like that, we have great knowledge crew. So, good folks. If one of you does get sick, we have a certain percentage each year that has problems, and we treat you, then you have to come down. So, if by chance one of you gets, say, pulmonary edema, we put you on oxygen, and we try to get you better so you can walk down. But we're there not to get you better to go up. So if one of you does get ill, whatever it might be, and we treat you, then your climb is done. The person's climb is done. So you guys know that. And part of this was based around self-sufficiency. We want, you guys are a strong team, so we want you to be self-sufficient for your whole way. So you can't really count on us for, we have very limited rescue capability. Like, for example, we had, there was a person that had died early in the season, an Argentine climber, and he essentially froze to death at high camp. And we couldn't get his body off for 3 weeks. We couldn't fly it at all up high on the mountain. And so the weather was, total weather was good. So the same. I mean, we're not like the Alps, where a helicopter can come in 5 minutes, or less. It might be a week right there, 2 weeks. So quite a long period of time.
But he froze to death. That was his.
Probably. Yeah, I think he was very tired, and nobody was at high camp. And there were no walls, there were no shelters, there was nothing. We got to high camp, and it was early in the season. And the description was, hey, Mark, quick question. Did that Argentine guy, did they find his pack on him, or what was?
I understand he's still had his pack on.
Still his pack on. Okay. Yeah, okay. So he just collapsed at camp. The storm came in shortly after he got there. The storm lasted for 3 days. Next group arrived at the camp and just found him laying there. Yeah. What's that?
I read a little bit about it, but then they didn't know what happened.
Yeah, I think he just froze to death. He was tired. What often happens during the climbing season is, well, if you have a person, I mean, because he was climbing solo, if anything goes wrong, then you're finished. And I think he got very tired. People saw him going up to fix lines. It was really kind of a cold, windy day, and he didn't look great. He would climb too fast. He'd only been up on the mountain less than a week. Just pushing the altitude really quickly. He said he climatized easily. Well, he was exhausted when he arrived at the high camp. There was nobody there. What happens today, if someone comes in and there's a lot of people there, sometimes they can find them a shelter or give them some water or whatever. Well, nobody there. So that's how it goes. So the little radios that you get, we call them FRS radios. It's channel 1. It's the one you turn on to. And so if you have a Verizon cell, it's working up there this year. So on the mountain. That just happened this season. So we put it on the PowerPoint here. So I don't know if you have that capability or not, but that is getting out. So we do give the weather forecast at 8 o'clock at night also. And you just turn your radio on. In many of the camps you can hear it. 11,000 camp, or the camp 3 is kind of hard to hear. But 8 o'clock at night is when it comes on. So. And But again, weather forecast is always tough to do for Denali. And this is the our National Weather Service that is doing these for us. They've been doing it for 25 years. But Denali, it just creates its own weather problem. So, but where it's probably the best is if we have a big storm coming, then that's when the forecast is more. If we're calling for like high winds or heavy snow, probably it's going to happen. Maybe a little quicker, maybe a little slower getting to the mountain, but those are the ones to worry about. So if something blowing like winds over 40 or 50 knots, or snow accumulation of half a meter or more, it's like, ugh, that's the kind to worry about.
Yeah. This is what's going to happen this week, right?
I think I think they're just calling for partial. I think it's some snow.
All right.
So it's kind of probably not great going to the summit, but okay to keep moving. I think you'll probably find some whiteout conditions, but I think for later in the week, I think it's not huge storm system that I've seen. At least what I've seen. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to do this. Yeah. So the lower glacier has been in good shape so far this season. I've been briefing a lot of people coming back off, and when I was up there 2 weeks ago, and everything was great. Still holding good. We're getting good freezing at night. It's supposed to freeze again tonight, also. So when you fly in, you don't want to leave right away when you get to camp. You want to leave tonight, late or early in the morning. That's when it's bullet hard and cool. If you travel during the heat of the day, you just absolutely get exhausted. So you want to at least go to Camp 1 when it's cool. Avalanche hazard. We have had avalanche hazard this season. It might happen again if we start getting a lot more snow. Right now, conditions are very good. This is Camp 3 or Motorcycle Hill here. And as far as the gear goes, let's see. Have you guys practiced crevasse rescue? Pretty much know what to do?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And do you have ice anchors of some sort for crevasse?
We have the ice screws.
Ice screws, yeah. Two ice screws.
Do you have ice tickets? Do you have
We don't have the snow tickets.
no tickets?
We have ice axes.
Ice axes? I think with 4 people you can get by fine. If it's just 2 people, I'd have a couple tickets, one per person. But I think with the ice axes, you can always. You have snowshoe too.
Yeah. So we can dig a hole for
You could always make some other kind of anchor. And you have a snow saw for cutting the blocks?
Yeah, three shots.
Shots.
But no snow saw?
No snow saw.
Oh, you should have a snow saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how do you make walls?
By shovels.
They don't.
We have quite
They break. You need to have nice, clean lines. It doesn't work. Shovel doesn't work.
I made it a lot of balls.
Well, you'd be okay. You could give it a try. You'll have a lot more difficulty.
We used snow saws last time.
Because you can make blocks just beautifully large.
You can dig. It's working.
You'll tend to crack the snow because unless the shovel is directly straight, the saw when you punch it
I
down.
prefer to make a hole for that than the walls. Two combination. Make a hole, the dig the tent under surface, and just.
But what you'll find at high camp, you won't find that at high camp. So I'm thinking of high camp mostly where you need it. High camp there is you're on the surface. You could dig a cave probably up there, but you're gonna. And if you go up there and you've got a windstorm coming, you're gonna want to beef up the walls on either side. The only way you're gonna get good snow in doing that is to cut the blocks. I've been up there so many times. Anyway, and he's been there.
That's always felt harder.
Yeah, it's simple thing.
Right?
They don't cost that much.
We're trying to fix it.
They don't weigh anything. They don't cost that much. It's worth having one at least. Everybody's got a sending, got a sender. That's why we have it up there, because people don't realize how handy the snow saw becomes when you really need Maybe you won't need it. Maybe it'll be perfect weather all the way. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Ranger was done.
No, never know.
Yeah, but it is a good backup, and they don't weigh anything really. They're super light. So the basic, basic route, we'll kind of go over that right now. So when you fly in today, it's pretty much like it was when you were last here, but the sleds are. Do you have your own sleds, or do you
We get them
have to get them from there?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sheldon will have their sleds, and this is where Lisa works from here. Sheldon has a different operator, this color of tent. But there is a toilet really close to where they are, and that's only for using this here and for pissing. So, and then back behind this area over here, there's an area called the cash garden. And that's where you want to put your cash in. And the Park Service is back here, and we keep an eye on these caches so that people aren't digging into someone else's. So just keep an eye on. Then Sheldon, he's got the fuel. Sheldon has the fuel. But as I was mentioning, for the best travel time, you should try to get to Camp 1, which is about 8 kilometers. Try to get there by about noon. After noon, it starts to get really, really hot on the lower glacier. So, and 8 kilometers, it takes maybe 6 hours with a break and all to get from the base camp. Maybe longer, but it's far enough, and it's the first. You have so much stuff you're moving, it takes some time to get there. And so you can so depending on when you want to move, I mean, some people will just leave like at midnight or 1 in the morning. Other people like to, leave like at 6 in the morning, sleep some, and get up. And then it takes about, if you put up a whole camp, it takes about 3 hours to take down a camp. So it takes a long time to take down a camp.
And what temperatures?
What's that?
What temperature? It's about midnight.
It drops really fast. It'll be below freezing. It'll be below the freezing point probably by 10 o'clock. Temperature is below the freezing. As soon as the sun drops at 9:30, 10 o'clock, behind the ridge, it starts to cool down. I think by midnight or 1, a good time to.
And the temperatures are just about -5 Celsius.
Yeah, that's just cold for this part.
Yeah, it's
not too cold.
That's great.
But if we get clouds and snow, sometimes
sure.
it wasn't freezing at all.
Yeah.
But tonight it's supposed to be pretty good, also frozen again, and then clouds are coming in later tomorrow with the forecast. That's probably pretty accurate. So you'll be able to get all the way to Camp 1 and get set up here. Possibly be able to move up the next day too. But just before the camp, there's a marked crevasse with a flag, and that's for your toilet bags. And so you'll start in wanting the crevasse your waist if you're traveling each day. I've got you 12 of these, so it should be plenty enough for the whole time. But you will need these. You will have to take one of these, at least one of these to high camp with you. But this is only good for about 10 uses, so this would only be good for maybe 2 days for all of you at high camp. So that's why I gave you 2.
Yeah.
So if you plan to stay at high camp for a while, then
I
you
think
should
it's
take
great
both,
because we are two pairs.
Yeah.
or one per each. You got
Yeah.
2 row teams.
One rope.
One
rope,
because it's
but 2 tents.
Yeah, it'd be good to have. In fact, I have, in a storm, I've used mine in the vestibule. I mean, it's so nice. You don't have, it's like, you can easily use this in the vestibule. So, not a problem. It's very nice. It stinks for a little bit, then you close the lid back up and no smell. Yeah. So, and then you can decide, it doesn't take long to cover this section here. This is just a couple kilometers all the way up to this area. It's good not to, this is the pass, Talkeetna Pass. In clouds, weather tends to be in this area right here a lot. So you can find it okay travel up the hill Tuesday morning. Maybe not too bad. It's hard to say, but as you get up this way, you may hit a wall of weather right here. And often it's very hard to find your way up around this corner. You don't want to do this if you can't see, or there's no walking trail. But if the guides are working this, there should be guided groups. They may be putting a lot of
I
water.
have navigation on the GPS.
Well, I wouldn't go.
There is a track, so I have to
Yeah,
open
but I
some.
wouldn't follow GPS in an area you've never been to before.
Yeah,
Come to Crevasse.
but
you've
it's
never
better
seen.
than nothing.
Yeah. It's GPS is great if it's desperation, but you're better to. I mean, in the old days we would travel and always put wands in, but people today don't carry wands, so only the guides do that. Now, a long time ago, there used to be like 5 wand trails all the way from landing point to the summit.
Hmm.
So many wands. But this camp, Camp 3, Below Motorcycle Hill, is a good one for getting more acclimatization. 2 nights here is good. Don't push up right away. So a lot of people will make the carry from here up, go around Winnie Corner, and so that's we really recommend spending the 2 nights here. There is crevasse. This Berkshire over here is where we have it marked for the 12 sacks. And there's also a crevasse, 2 crevasses that run underneath the camp. And just be really careful. They have been covered up so far, but they're there. And we have had people that have fallen in those crevasses occasionally, and it's not good. But most folks will walk from this point up. It has been good cramponing lately. So yeah, this is, I would say most people will leave their snowshoes here. If you do leave a cache of anything here, make sure the flag, make sure this thing here is about 2 meters above the surface. So make sure it's really high up. So make sure it's been, taped it all together. But we get a lot of deep snow here, and I've been there when we've lost like 20 caches over one night. I pulled in one time, and it was snowing. Weather wasn't very good. As I looked around, I could see just the top of flags about this far up, all over the camp of caches, only this far up, and the next morning, all gone. And it was really bad for people who went down because they needed their snowshoes, their skis, everything was lost. But be careful. We do have that one picture showed the avalanche coming from here. We do have ice blocks that come off this big face here. We can't back over it here. Don't. I was there one time when a big piece of ice came rolling down, and everybody over this side started running from the tents, and it stopped right here. It's big, the size of this room. It was huge. It was just tumbling. It was one of these ones like out of a movie.
Cool, great thing.
Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, this huge thing. So yeah, people are walking. The sleds, at this point, the sleds are kind of a pain to take up higher. I would cut their weight way down to this bulky stuff. When you traverse around the side here with your sled, they kind of pull down this way. We have lost some over the edge. If it's snowing, you'll have avalanches that come across the trail on both sides. Right? So if it's kind of stormy, I just hold tight here until it's cleared up some. But when it's snowing, these constantly run and will hit people. And this is Windy Corner right here, and so just after the corner, we have this year we started to get some good rockfall coming off. Also, there's some crevasse right down in here. So, so as you come around, just make sure you move quickly around the corner. And some people will cache right here. Other people cache at the camp. It's about an hour, a little more than an hour more to the camp. But it's good to get. You don't want to leave any cache lower than the corner. It's good to get it past the corner so that once you move up here, you're not prevented from, because if there's a lot of wind, you can't get around the corner. This can just be impossible to travel through if it's a big storm. So that's where it's good to carry your food up to at least this far. The 14 Basin, we've already had a release. Some skiers are coming down This is the old rescue building side, and they were caught in avalanche and was swept right down across the trail to here.
Hmm.
And luckily, only one had an ankle injury, but we are starting to get some loading across all the different faces. So if you end up here for a period during a heavy snow event, I would give it 24 hours. Talk to the rangers is what best advice. Usually 24 hours is a good period of wait before moving up. Some people may push that and walk right up into a death trap. There is a crevasse just below camp here that we have marked for the toilet bags. So you'll be going down here a few times, taking your shit down to that crevasse. But in the camp itself, we have at least 2, maybe 3 places marked for the urine. But don't piss in your camp area. Just go piss in the one spot.
There's no toilet inside.
No
the camp.
toilet anymore. We're using can all the way.
Oh.
And so then strategy for going up high, get the good weather forecast, and then join the crowds going up. And this is what you'll find. There's a lot of people. You're in the middle of the season right now. And the other day we had 300 people camped at the 4,000 meter camp. 300 people. There's so many. They were all bottlenecked because of the weather.
Right.
And nobody moving for the longest time up high. So then the floodgates open. There must have just been disaster there. But we have, like our highway, the right side goes up, the left side comes down. It's just one rope up, one down. But then on the ridge itself, the ridge is narrow in places, and it's again another big bottleneck. This is a fixed rope here around Washburn's thumb. I don't find it's put by the guides, but I find that you don't really need that rope. You can definitely manage to go around either way. If you do get in on this thing, you may have other people that are there too. It's really a pain in the butt. But when you come up to make a carry, I like to. There's a good flat area about 50 or 75 meters above the turning point here. This is a good place for a cache right up in here. So I don't know if you remember that spot or not before, but anyway, it's a big flat area. It's a great place to. Right here, it's kind of on a side hill, not a very good place to wait or dig in or anything like that. Up here, you can actually enjoy sitting and getting a view, or just not being worried about being blown off. But make sure you bury your cache up in this area. We have ravens that will just scour all this upper part to take anything and ruin it. The high camp, it is protected from the wind if you got good walls. And this is, I don't think it's possible to make blocks like that with just a plain shovel. I've tried many times. They tend to break. They tend to break pretty easily. And, that's where a saw nicely slicing along will make the blocks. But if you're stuck up there and the weather is forecasted, you want your walls at least as high as your tent. And this is a B25, like what you guys have. And then waiting for getting a good weather forecast. As far as gear goes, this is the gear that's required for each rope team on a guided party. We have real strict rules for guiding on Denali, and this has to be carried by every rope team going up for guided parties. So it's basic survival stuff, all common sense stuff. We've already had 2 groups that have been stranded above the pass this season. During that weather spell, they tried to make the top. They got to the football field and couldn't make it, and turned around and they couldn't get through the pass, and so they stuck for 12 hours at the pass. But they had stuff with them, and so they were able to survive. One guy got some bad frostbite on his foot, but they did come all the way off on their own because they had survival gear. Right now, from what I understand, the trail kind of angles up like, it goes kind of steep up and then straight across. It's kind of how it goes. hitting the face. So it's really important to be warm. Try to stay as warm as you can. Because the altitude and the cold conditions up there, it's really easy you just want to leave when your feet are warmed up. And start experiencing, well, a lot of people experience colder feet once you get higher and higher. And so you really need that sun hitting you. So a typical departure time is 9 or 10 in the morning for the summit day. And this is west facing, and so the sun will be out on this side for 14 hours. You have lots of time to go all the way up and all the way back with the sun. If it's cloudy and no sun, it's a much colder day. Usually cloudy days are wind too, so you just want to be as warm as possible. On the traverse itself, we have anchors in. We've got 27 anchors in right now, about every 30 meters, 25 to 30 meters apart. And they have, they're sling-like, they're pickets driven in. They're slinged with carabiners that are, the slings are sewn into a hole in the back of the carabiner. So nobody, unless you cut these off, the carabiners can't be removed. And they also have marked wands, like a flag on top of each one, like this here. Mm-hmm. I find they're not really needed going up, but coming back down, they could save your life coming back down. More times than not, someone, maybe out of the four of you, one of you may not be doing that great on the descent. And it's just really, really nice to be able to clip through these coming down.
Will you need the rope further up?
You should have a rope all the way.
All the way.
Take it all the way. Yeah. And there's no rope. I mean, those pickets we put in do any good if you don't have a rope.
Yeah. But I was thinking if you could leave the rope at Denali Pass. And go up. The football field here is notorious. Well, the upper mountain is notorious for clouds. And twice I'd come off the top and couldn't find my way across the football field. Only way I was able to do that is we had wands. We put wands, but we couldn't even find the start of the wand trail. And but it's using compass or GPS and then lining up someone with a rope going way out and getting the right angle back across. This is huge. This football field is very large here. It's a quarter mile across it, which is the length of it's a quarter mile. It's a 440 loop on the track. So it's one direction. It's a long ways. And it's very easy to get confused. And we've had people that have gone off and have actually fallen down the Orient Express. Thought they were following an old wand trail that way. So my first time on top was 40 years ago, 1975. And we summited in the clouds and couldn't find our way back off. We got a compass out. We had put in some wands, but we were like 45 degrees off. We were going over here when the wands were going this way. And it's like, shit, we had to back up, find our wand again, and then literally had to figure out where we were going to go. That's where a rope was really nice to have. Okay. Also, the summit ridge. This is a picture I took on the summit. Mm-hmm. The winds are blowing about 30. It's about as much as you can handle at 30 knots. Mm-hmm. And we put anchors. We put in some running anchors across here because you just felt like you're going to get knocked off your feet. And there's no room for air. This drops off 3,000 meters down this side along the fall. So the key thing is the summit is only halfway for that day. You guys know that. So keeping up your strength for the way down. I took this photo showing making sure your ice axe is out there. We did this back when there were no running anchors. And just be incredibly careful descending down. But right at this location is where most of our falls happen. And it just takes a simple, it really is somebody stumbling over their feet. There's really no trail. If there's a trail, it's only the width of a boot. And your feet are, the boots we have are bulky. If you've got over boots, everything about the footwear is not good for fine walking. And if you're really tired from a long day, or someone has a little bit of edema or something, and maybe just a little, it could just, everything can go wrong very quickly. And what happens is you cartwheel. It's not like you just fall over. I literally cartwheel through the air, and so having the ice axe out and clipping through some of this protection, I think is very important to be able to do that. Almost everyone spends the night back at camp and then descends the next day. And you've got to make sure all your waste is brought down from the high camp, and you can put it back in the crevasse that's below the camp. So these will have some in them on the way down, and just make sure you bring them all the way down to there. Now again, now there's a lot of different strategies for leaving high camp. I don't know when you went down, but do you remember what your
I think we went to Camp 2 from the high camp.
okay.
In one night.
Okay. Camp 2, yeah. So and that's what some people do. They go from high camp and keep going on down around the corner. The key thing is to travel the low glacier all the way down in the early morning hours. So not in the middle of the day, but so at least go all the way to Camp 1 and wait there, Camp 1 or 2, wait there until the things are frozen. So midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, whatever. But wait till it's frozen. And then sometimes what I do is I'll leave from here at 9 in the evening. And you can travel through the night all the way down from 9 in the evening all the way down.
You say 9 in the evening all the way down to the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. And that seems to work pretty good.
Okay.
That way you descend the whole way. What I do is I go down to the camp below Motorcycle Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I make like a late dinner soup, a bunch of stuff, and then just dig up the cache, prepare everything, and then just keep going down. Yeah, and it works pretty good. Yeah, it's all downhill. It goes pretty quick. Your feet get nailed in the boots. So the base camp. When you get in, we want to make sure all your fuel cans come back. That's really important. Sheldon tracks his camp, so you've got to make sure. You want to make sure that your garbage is taken off. The rangers may be looking at your garbage. And make sure that these clean mountain cans, make sure that you've got the lid on tight and it's locked over, or one wing broken here, but locked over these wings on here. That way it holds the lid on. Yeah. And then when you get back, you return the cans, put them outside here when you first come, or you can put them in the bin. We have a bin right across the alleyway here for after hours. And we have, so the big pushes is the bottom part here, no can, no climb. So now you have to have one of these all the way. Yeah. And it's working. The program's working really well. All right. So to sum it all up, probably the most important thing is patience. So, people that have the most patience tend to be able to wait out the weather and make it. So that's the key. All right. Well, I had a good trip.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Okay.
Very big.